What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we are taking a deep dive into the RONIN mid to endgame intelligence dexterity build. Easily one of the strongest builds in the game. I would say top 3 for sure. The Moonvell Katana is not only one of the most satisfying weapons to use in Elden Ring, but it is definitely one of the strongest. So much damage, stagger. Now, generally with my build videos, I like to respec my character and try new things, but I'm gonna say it will be difficult to respec my character this time because this build is definitely the strongest that I've made so far. I do want to mention, if you are interested in a high damage, strength, and faith build, I posted a video a couple of days ago. I'm going to put a link at the top of the screen right now. That one is definitely a must watch. If you want to feel powerful anywhere from mid to late game, this is definitely the option for you. Very high damage up close, very high damage from range, and the ability to just spam Transient Moonlight to take out these bosses like it's a piece of cake. It's time to take a deeper look at the RONIN Intelligence Dexterity build. Now, I know what you guys are wondering, where did I obtain this badass RONIN armor set? Well, I decided to take the easy way out, and I basically just killed the NPC that was wearing this. All I did was I went to the mountaintops of the giants. I fast traveled to this site of grace right here, the Zamor ruins. Once you fast travel here, he will be standing right here. He has his own entire quest line, so if you don't want to be like me and just kill him and take the easy way out to obtain this armor, and you want to actually do the quest line, I'm not sure what the added benefits are, but I will put a link in the description below in case you guys want to obtain this armor the legitimate way. Otherwise, if you want it right away, just come over here, kill him, and it's all yours. We're actually going to be doing something a little different in today's video that I think you all will appreciate. Now, everybody's at a different point in the game, but that doesn't mean you can't work your way towards an incredible build like mine. So I'm going to show you my current stats at the moment. I am level 209, but I'm going to show you guys what your attributes should look like, or what you should push towards at different levels in the game. So for example, level 50, level 100, level 150, and then obviously my level here, end game, super high level, 209. So my current attributes at level 209, for vigor we have 59. I believe the soft cap for HP is at 60. So once you reach 60, that's one of the best spots to be at. My mind and endurance are both at 40. I think mind and endurance is extremely important for a build like this, because not only are you going to be effective with melee combat, but your spells are going to do lots of damage, and you want to make sure that your mind is high enough to cast enough spells to help you out in specific situations. But also endurance, when you cast these spells or when you use Transient Moonlight, you are using stamina and you are using FP. So it's important to prioritize these attributes as well. Our strength is low. Again, this is not a strength build. You can see here our dexterity is at 40. Our intelligence is our highest attribute on this build. Intelligence is definitely what you want to prioritize. And then we can see here faith and arcane are pretty low. Faith is at 8. and arcane is at 9. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take a trip over to Rennala, the queen of the full moon, which is actually one of the bosses you fight in the game. After you kill this boss, you receive a great rune that allows you to respec your attributes. Keep in mind, you do need a larval tear in order to do this. They're easily obtained in the game. I'm going to put a link in the description below in case you need help locating these. So assuming you're anywhere between level 50 or 70, this is what your attributes would look like. Something similar to this. Vigor around 20, mind around 15 to 20. It's personal preference. Again, endurance is important. We have it around 20. Strength 12, so we can use the Moonvell Katana. Dexterity 25, intelligence 30, and then faith and arcane we're not really going to touch at all. So this is what your attributes should look like around the 50 to 70 level range. Now, for anyone that's between level 90 to level 120, for example, you're going to be looking at something like this. You know, vigor around 40, mind 20, endurance 20, dexterity 30, and intelligence 50. I think this is pretty reasonable when you're in this specific level bracket. And then last but not least here, anywhere between the level 150 range, you're looking at something like this. Vigor at 50, mind 30, endurance 25, dexterity 40, and intelligence 60. If you guys have any additional questions for any lower level brackets, please let me know in the comments below. But I feel like most people at this point are within that level 40 to 50 range. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Now with that out of the way, we can go ahead and take an in-depth look at every single part of this build. The first thing we're going to start with is my primary weapon, which is the Moonvell Katana, fully maxed out, plus 10. This is easily top 3 meta weapons in Elden Ring right now. It is incredible. It does so much damage. The attacks are very fast, extremely reliable. One thing that makes this weapon so overpowered is the ability to stagger enemies. And I mean all types of enemies. Low level and even bosses, you have the ability to stagger. Super incredible. It allows for those critical hits, and this is easily one of the best weapons to grind for. And it's actually very simple to obtain. So all you have to do is when you open your map and you go over here to the east side of the map in Caelid, there is a small cave, a small dungeon called the Gal Tunnel. After you kill this boss at the very end, they drop the Moonvell Katana. It may take some time to fully max out this special weapon because the materials required to fully max it out are only obtainable in endgame areas, right? So you need that dragon, sombering, smithing stone to fully max it out. But even at +6, +7, +8, early game, it is one of the best weapons to use. If you haven't noticed already, it is a magic weapon. So for physical attack power, we have 178 plus 93. For magic attack power, 213 plus 218. Our attribute scaling works perfectly for this build because our scaling for dexterity and intelligence is both at B, which is very nice. Keep in mind, attributes required to even use this weapon, your strength has to be at 12, dexterity has to be at 18, and your intelligence has to be at 23. Now you may be wondering why I have this very low level dagger in my build as my secondary weapon. The only reason I'm using this is to take full advantage of Bloodhound's Step, which is an Ash of War that is very, very good. I mean, check this out, guys. This is going to allow you to evade a lot of attacks, get away from a lot of enemies that like to spam lots of attacks. And if you guys want to get your hands on this Ash of War, it's very simple to get. I'm going to put a link in the description below, along with tons of other links for all of the items that we go over in today's video for anyone that's curious. But this is extremely good to have. So basically what I'll do is when I'm in combat, I'll fight. And if I need to get out, I'll just switch and get the hell out of there. Obviously, you already know this is an intelligence dexterity build, and the only possible way to cast these spells is to use a glintstone staff. I'm using the CARIAN Regal Scepter plus 9. This is actually obtained as one of the rewards for killing Renala, the Full Moon Queen. You need a staff in order to cast spells. The attribute scaling is very good. Our strength and dexterity are sitting at D. The most important thing is our intelligence scaling is S tier. So the Ronin armor doesn't just look badass, the attributes are very good for a build like this. So if we take a look at the chest, the Ronin's armor, for example, immunity at 66, robustness 48, focus 52, and vitality at 57. So we have the iron casa for the hat, we have the Ronin's armor for the chest piece. I'm actually using the samurai white reed gauntlets just because I think they look cool, and they also work in our favor. You know, robustness, focus, and vitality are pretty good. And then we have the Ronin's greaves for the final piece of our armor set here. All right, guys, so probably the most important part of this build is the 4 talismans that we are using. We have the Ancestral Spirit's Horn, DRAGONCREST GREATSHIELD Talisman, Ratagons Icon, and the CARIAN FILIGREED Crest. These are very, very good. We're going to take a look at them one by one, and I'm also going to let you guys know exactly where you can go to obtain these. The first talisman is the Ancestral Spirit's Horn, which I think is absolutely essential, especially if you're using the Moonvell Katana. So the item effect here restores FP upon defeating enemies. So every time we kill an enemy, we're going to get a small percentage of FP back, which definitely makes a difference, especially if you're killing tons and tons of enemies. It's going to allow you to get those extra couple of hits using Transient Moonlight before you have to drink another FP potion. This talisman wasn't too difficult to obtain. It's pretty simple. Again, like I said, there will be links in the description below for more details, but really all I did was I went to Nokron, the Eternal City. I lit all of the torches in the area and I was able to resurrect and fight the ancestral spirit. And from there, that is where you get the talisman. The second talisman on our build here, I think is really good to have because we are going to be up close, and it's also a melee focused build, not just spell casting. We are using the DRAGONCREST GREATSHIELD talisman, which enormously boosts physical damage negation. So we're going to be able to take a lot of hits before we actually die, which is extremely beneficial to have against bosses, or maybe in tight areas where you just can't get out. You know, that extra survivability is going to be very good to have in a lot of different situations. The DRAGONCREST GREATSHIELD talisman was pretty easy to find. It is in one of the endgame areas. I'll actually show you guys exactly where I found this talisman. So if we head over to Haligtree and we go to the Haligtree Town Plaza site of Grace, once we are here, we're going to work our way down here, jump on these rooftops. You can ignore the enemies. They're not going to bother you too much. Jump down here, ignore these guys right here, try not to get hit. Jump on this rooftop here and quickly turn around in this area. This is where you are going to find the talisman. Wow, these guys are doing a lot of damage. But there's going to be some enemies in here, and you actually find this talisman in the chest in the back of the room right here. The next talisman, Ratagons Icon, is very good to have. It actually shortens our spell casting time. So one of the best spells to use to spam against your enemies is the COMET spell. And once you have Ratagons Icon, you can use these attacks, cast this spell a lot quicker, and trust me, those milliseconds definitely make a difference in this game where timing is key. I'll show you guys where to find this one real quick. So if we open up the map and we go to this area here, actually where we were before to respec where Renala is, the Queen of the Full Moon, and we fast travel to this site of grace, the debate parlor. Once we spawn in, we're going to go ahead and go straight through both of these doorways, through this gate, make a right, go around this corner, make another right, jump over this, come through here. There's going to be a ladder. We're going to go ahead and climb this ladder. This item is actually very simple to get, but like I said, it's all about getting to the right areas, right? Once we make our way up here, there should be a window we can jump through. Once we jump through the window, we can go ahead over here to the right side. Up the stairs, there is a chest, and this is where you will find Ratagons Icon talisman. The last talisman is the CARIAN Filigreed Crest, which lowers FP consumed by skills. I'm telling you guys, the Filigreed Crest and the Ancestral Spirit's Horn is a great combination because not only are we getting FP back for defeating enemies, but we are also using less FP every time we are spamming Transient Moonlight. I mean, if you look at the bar at the top of the screen, we can get so many attacks in before we even have to drink an FP potion. And keep in mind, this is without killing anybody, so we're not even getting anything back right now. Very, very good to have. Very good combination of talismans. I think there's a couple of ways you can get this item. For more details, you can check the links in the description below. But essentially, this item is obtained from Blade. If you're still early in the game, I would make your way over here in Limgrave to the Mistwood Ruins. You might have the chance to find Blade there and start his quest line. However, if you're further into the game and you've completed Ronnie's quest line, you can actually fight Blade at the very end. You kill him at Ronnie's chamber and he drops his armor, and then at that point, after I killed Blade, I fast traveled over to the road to the manor, which actually has a merchant called E.G. He's a big blacksmith, and he sold the talisman to me for 5,000 runes. I also want to show you guys these spells that I'm using. I think these are the best spells in the game. For anyone using intelligence, dexterity, intelligence, strength, whatever it may be. But any build that has a heavy focus on intelligence, I would highly recommend these. So the first one we have is the Comet. Very good, easy to spam, lots of successive attacks, and it definitely packs a punch. I mean, you do a lot of damage for sure. We also have the CARIAN PHALANX. I think I'm saying that correctly. This is actually a defense spell, which is really good to have, but what I like about it most is it stays active until it needs to be used. So you can have this one activated and then go ahead and keep using Comet, and if any enemy tries to get close to you, well, it's going to be a bad day for them. Another good spell to have is Starlight. This is really good whenever you're in dungeons or dark areas. You don't have to use a torch. Moving on to ADULAS Moonblade, which is definitely one of the best spells to use. I was actually using this spell heavily against one of the hardest bosses in the game, Millennia, Blade of Mikola. I think definitely the hardest boss in the game, but the thing is, she is weak to frost. So anything frost related is going to be really good to use against that boss. We also have the COMET AZUR, which is really good, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this OP. So obviously we have our wondrous physic, and we have two different types of tiers here. We have Opaline's bubble tier, which significantly negates damage received, but this is the most important one right here. Cerulean hidden tier eliminates all FP consumption for a certain amount of time. The Cerulean hidden tear is absolutely broken with the COMET AZUR spell. I mean, check this out, guys. Once we go ahead and drink this, we can spam this attack and our FP consumption is not there. I mean, we're not using any FP whatsoever for a short amount of time, and this is quite a long time to one phase most bosses, most enemies, and it's just so good to have. I think it's overpowered and extremely broken. Well, that is it for the spells, the items, an in-depth look at the RONIN Intelligence Dexterity build. If you guys think I forgot to mention anything, please let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm going to try my best to put links to every single item that we are using in this build in the description below. So if you guys need any tutorials, they should be down there for you. Seriously appreciate all of you guys watching. A thumbs up would be super appreciated if you enjoyed the video. Smash that like button. It really helps with the algorithm. It's going to help recommend this video to more people that may need it. Also, I want you guys to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next Elden Ring video. Peace.